In the diagram below, P with coordinates 1 and 0, Q with coordinates 6 and 3, and R with coordinates 9 and -2 are the vertices of a triangle such that PQ is equal to QR and PQ is perpendicular to QR. T is a point on PQ such that PT is the midpoint of PQ. S is the point of intersection of RQ and the x-axis. V is a point on the x-axis such that angle QSV is equal to 121 degrees. Then QPS or angle QPS is equal to theta or theta. Analytical geometry, grade 10, paper 2. Let us just start with this question. Good day, guys. I hope you're all doing so well. Let us just start with the first question. And the first question reads as follows. Determine the length of PQ. Determine the length of PQ for 2 marks. Determine the length of PQ for 2 marks, guys. Simple, ne? Now, where is PQ? The length, you already think about the distance formula. Do you still remember the distance formula? If you got the length, yeah, PQ. Let me just write it on here. PQ is equals to the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. That's how you find the length of PQ. This is the formula for distance. When you want to find the distance from one point to another, so the distance from point P to point Q, you use this formula: x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared inside a square root sign. This equal to, now, what are coordinates of P? Let me just write them here: 1 and 0. What are coordinates of Q? Is 6 and 3. Right, guys. So now, from these coordinates, you need to point out your x2, x1, y2, y1. It's a decision, but they need to be placed as x1 and y1. That means for P, you need to say at least just say x1 and y1. 1 year represent your x1, 0 represent your y1. Then you come to Q. Obviously, since we have already used x1 and y1, on point Q, you're going to say x2, y2. You cannot say x1, x2. You say x1, y1, x2, y2 all the time. The coordinates are like that. Ne? The first coordinate represents the x coordinate, and the second coordinate represents the y coordinate. Vice versa. Ne? Yeah. x2, y2, x1, y1, x2, y2, x1, y1, x2, y2. Not, you cannot, if, for example, if I have P1 and 0, this coordinates cannot be x1, x2. It can't be. It's always x1, y1. Please, guys. Please. Let me just come back here again. Now, from this, already I'm just throwing my square root sign. What is my x2? It's 6. You open the bracket. 6. 6 minus. What is my x1? 1. 6 minus 1 squared. Plus. What is my y2? Y2 3. You open a bracket. You say 3. 3 minus. What is my y1? 0. You put in 0 inside the bracket. Then on your calculator, guys, without wasting any time, just put everything you see in here inside the calculator. So it's put that in the calculator. So you put this inside the calculator: square root of bracket x minus 1 squared plus bracket 3 minus 0 squared is equals to the square root of 34. You are done. This is the length of PQ. The square root of 34. This is the length of PQ. We are done with finding. This is for 2 marks. They will mark like this in the examination. You have to the final answer and substitution in the examination. I hope you understand it, guys. Gradient of PQ for 2 marks. Gradient of PQ. Now, gradient PQ. What is the formula to use to find the gradient? If you want to find the gradient of PQ, this equals to, formula for gradient is y2 minus y1 all divided by x2 minus x1. This is the formula we use to find the gradient of any line of 2 points, to be exact. Then from this equation, you come back to what do we want? We want the gradient of p, pq. Now, what are coordinates of p? 1 and 0. What are coordinates of q? 6 and 3. You need to label them according to x1, y1, x2, y2. This is what we did here. Now, you come back again. What is our y2? Y2 is 3. You say 3. 3, this minus, minus. What is our y1? Is 0. 3 minus 0 divided by. What is our x2? X2 is 6. 6 minus. What is our x1? Is 1 minus 1. This equal to, you put this on your calculator. Your calculator will give you 3 over 5. This is your gradient of that line. PQ, 3 over 5. So I'm going to write it on the left. So the gradient of PQ is equals to 3 over 5. Then the length is square root of 34. Ne? I hope you're good. For 2 marks, you get substitution and the final answer. That's how you're gonna get your 2 marks. Determine the coordinates of T for 2 marks. Remember, on the statement, they said that T is a point on PQ such that T is the midpoint of PQ. T is the midpoint of PQ. The only way to find the coordinates of T, if they said on the statement that the T is the midpoint, that means it is the middle point of PQ, is by using the midpoint formula to find the coordinates of T. Midpoint formula. Remember, coordinates of T. And how about the coordinates of T? You know, like coordinates of T. Ne? Coordinates of T, x is to y. This is equal to. These are coordinates of T. Ne? Yeah. Now, these are our midpoint. Can I formula we use for midpoint? X1 plus x2 divided by 2 is 2 or end. Y1 plus y2 divided by 2. You are done, guys. You are literally done with finding the coordinates of T. When you know this formula, this is the formula for midpoint. Ne? Now, since we want the midpoint of coordinates of our midpoint of PQ, we're going to use the coordinates of P and Q to find our midpoint, which is point T. We're going to use the coordinates of P and Q to find our midpoint T. P and Q. These coordinates, we're going to use them to find our midpoint. Now, again, you need to label your coordinates P and Q. Label them properly, accordingly. X1, x2, simple. X1 give guy is 1 plus x2 give guy is 6 divided by 2, and y1 is 0 plus y2 is 3 divided by 2. This equal to, calculator, first part, 6 plus 1 is 7, then 2 plus 7 divided by 2 again, and 0 plus 3, 3 divided by 2 is 3 over 2. These are coordinates of point T. These are coordinates of T. 7 over 2 and 3 over 2. These are coordinates of, let me just write them here. Coordinates of T, okay, 7 over 2 and 3 over 2. These are coordinates of point T, our midpoint, for 2 marks. How they mark it? You have substituted and written the coordinates. Then you are done. That's how they mark it. Thank you. 2.2, guys. Calculate 2.1.1, the area of triangle QTR. Now you need to check QTR. Here's our QTR. Here's our QTR. Here's our triangle here. Here's our triangle, guys. Now our triangle has got 90 degree. Note, there's 90 degree angle here. Now, you know that, how about the area of a triangle? You need to know the formula for area of a triangle. Area of a triangle, formula area is equals to half times base times height. This is the formula we use for area of a triangle with a 90 degree angle. So we need to know our base and our height. Now, as we know that our base is the side, is our adjacent side. That's our base. This means this side QT is our base. That means it will have 1 over 2 multiplied by B into B ke base ya rona ke kae ke QT, ke length ya QT multiplied height ya rona ke length ya QR. Very simple, guys. Now, when you talk about the area of a triangle, they're basically talking about the sides. That means the shortest side is our base, and then the opposite side of our right angle triangle is our height. We don't use the hypotenuse side, and the longest side we don't use the hypotenuse side. We only use the base and our height. Now, remember, guys, how do you find now? Hurrying here, 1 over 2 multiplied by, what is the length of QT? What is the length of QT? What is the length of QT, guys? Remember, we said that T is the midpoint of QP. Whenever you talk about midpoint, you must know that that line bisects. It means it cuts into 2 equal pieces. That means if they say T, if T is a midpoint, if T is a midpoint of QP, therefore QT, length of QT is equal to length ya PT. That's the definition of a midpoint. That means length ya is equal to length ya monana. Again, remember, we found the length of PQP from our first question. We found that QP is equal to square root of 34. That means this square root of 34 will share amongst QT and PT. That means QT and PT will share square root of 34. That means, and we said that the length of QP is equals to square root of 34. So now QT and PT, when we add the length of QT and PT, they give us the length of QP. When you add the length from here for length of QT and PT, they give us the whole length of QP. So now for us to find the length of QT, you need to divide this square root of 34 by 2 for us to find the length of QT. Divide square root of 34 by 2, so you get the answer. So it will be square root of 34 divided by 2, you get the answer for us, multiplied by, remember, guys, for us to find the length of QR, on the statement they said that on the statement made the PQ is equals to QR. Now, what is our PQ? To the length of PQ is equal to the length of QR. The length of PQ is equal to the length of Q. That means the length from PQ to Q is equal to the length from Q to R. Now, what is the length of PQ? Remember, you found the length of PQ from the first question. Okay, the square root of 34. Now, this square root of 34, we call it the square root of 34 on QR also. That means PQ, the square root of 34. So do the length of QR, which is going to be called the square root of 34. That means the length of PQ and QR will be equal to 34, square root of 34 on both sides. Because of what? They told us on the statement that PQ is equals to QR. I hope you understand me, guys. Let us substitute. Therefore, our answer is square root of 34. Now, let us find the final answer here. Answer, you put this on a calculator, guys. Very simple. Put it on a calculator. So, guys, there's a mistake there on our final answer. We have 1 over 2 multiplied by square root of 34 over 2 multiplied by square root of 34. So now instead, I only multiplied the last two product, which is square root of 34 over 2 times square root of 34, which is equal to 34 over 2. I forgot to say multiplied by 1 over 2. That means the answer there is 34 over 4, not 34 over 2. Please put it on the calculator for proper final answer. Please, guys, there's a mistake. In any question, when you talk about a midpoint of a line, that means if you have a midpoint of a line, in any question, just know that the length between that point, or that forms that middle point, are equal. You must already know that. Ne? So another question is 2.2.2. Size of theta for 3 marks or for 2 marks. Size of theta for 2 marks. Size of theta. Now, where is our theta? You need to know where is our theta before you can answer the question. Where is our theta? Our theta is inside this triangle. Like this is our theta. Now, theta here's our theta. Now, theta, how can you find it? Remember, guys, we have an x-axis here. That means it cuts. Our x-axis cuts. Our theta is here. That means our theta is inside this triangle. This triangle. Our theta is inside this triangle Q. So let me just write this. Look out for triangle in triangle QPS. Ne? In triangle QPS, check something here. Remember the properties of triangle. Guys, we said that the interior of triangle is equal to 180 degrees. And there's this one that says that an exterior angle of triangle is equal to the opposite interior angles of triangle. That means the angle that is set here, let me just draw this triangle. Let me just draw this triangle QPS. Here's our P, Q, S, QPS. Now, let me just extend QPS. S again. Here's our S, guys. Now, to find the size of theta, theta is on P. Then you've got our 90-degree angle here. Then you've got 121 outside this triangle. So for us to find this theta, you already know that an exterior angle of triangle, that means this angle is equal to the sum of these two angles inside of a triangle. That means we only have one unknown angle, which is theta. And one of the ways to find theta is by saying 121 is equal to theta plus 90 degrees. This is one of the properties of triangle. It says that an exterior angle of triangle is equal to the two opposite, or the sum of two opposite interior angles of triangle. This means that 121 is equal to theta plus 90 degrees. Why? Because of what? Exterior angle of triangle. You can write it like this. Exterior angle of triangle, you can extend by saying is equal to the sum of two opposite interior angle of triangle. And transpose this 90 to the left hand. 121 minus 90 is equal to theta. 121 minus 90 is equal to theta. So 121 minus 90 is 31 degrees. That means angle theta. Therefore, theta again 31 degrees. That means this angle here is 31 degrees. Then calculate the coordinates of point S. Yes, here's our point S. It's a line that touches the x-axis. Point S is one line QR. Point S, guys, it is one line. It's like this. It's like this point here. Q. Here's our Q. Here's our S. Here's our R. But it is not a midpoint. But the coordinates are S, but S is not a midpoint. S, it's not a midpoint. S. You cannot use the formula midpoint because I didn't tell you what S is a midpoint. Share, guys. S. What are coordinates of S, by the way? S, if an angle or if a point sits on an x-axis, and you remember x-axis is this line wherein our y is equal to 0. That means x, but our y is equal to 0. The coordinates of S is x and 0. The coordinates of S is x, unknown x and 0. Why is 0? Because of what? Any point that sits on x-axis, its y coordinate is equal to 0. But any point that sits on y-axis, its coordinates are 0 and y. But in this case, it's x and 0. That means for us to find S, we need to know the equation of QR. That's how we're going to find S. QR is a straight line. That means y is equals to mx plus c. This is how you find the equation of a straight line. Straight line y equals to mx plus c. Now, m represents our gradient and c represents our constant. X is x coordinate and y is y coordinate. So now, we have a gradient of line QR. We don't have a gradient of line QR, guys. But we can find the gradient of line QR in many ways. But one of the ways to find the gradient of QR, they told you that QP is perpendicular to QR. Therefore, if QP is perpendicular to QR, therefore the gradient of QP multiplied by gradient of QR is equal to -1. That means when you multiply the gradient of PQ and QR, it's going to give you -1. One because they are perpendicular to one another. Now, what is the gradient of QP? What is the gradient of QP or PQ? We found it is 3/5. Multiplied by the gradient of QR. Equation of QR. So the gradient of QR. Keep gradient of QR. It's a known QR. This is equal to -1. Therefore, for me to find the gradient of QR, I need to divide both sides by 3/5. 3/5. Therefore, gradient of QR is equals to -1. If you put this on a calculator, -4, just stay on a calculator. -1 divided by 3/5. -5/3. The answer is -5/3. If you put it on a calculator, -1 divided by 3/5. This is the gradient of QR, which is -5/3. We have our gradient, which is -5/3 x plus c. It's a mark to find the gradient, by the way. Why? Now, c right now. How do you find c? So we have coordinator q, which is 6 and 3. You have coordinator r, which is 9 and -2. So you can use any of the two equations or point. You can use any of the 2 points to find c. Let us use x. Q, coordinator q. Q on x and y. Why see x? I put in 6. Why see y? I put in 3 to find c. Why see x? I put in 6. Why see y? I put in 3. So when I have 3 is equal to -5/3 multiplied by 6 plus c. I use coordinates that q, 6 and 3. I need to find c now. So on your calculator, guys, just say I'm going to transpose this -5/3 times 6 to the left. So just say 3 plus 5/3 multiplied by 6 equal to c. Therefore, c on your calculator, just say 3 plus 30/3. 3 plus 30/3. My answer is 13. C on 13 our c. That's how you find our c. C on 13. Therefore, our equation y is equals to -5/3 x plus 13. Remember, I also the coordinator s. Therefore, what are coordinates of s? Coordinates of s is x and 0. Now, I need to find the x. That's our variable. Now, for us to find x, let y be equal to 0. This 0 here s. Where see y put in 0 to find x, coordinate of s. So it was 0 is equals to -5/3 x plus 13. Therefore, I'm going to transpose this 13 to the left. 0 minus 13 -13 is equal to -5/3 x. Therefore, I divide both sides by -5/3 to be left with x on one side as my subject of the formula. Therefore, x is equal to, you put this on a calculator. My answer is 39/5. Therefore, coordinate of s, 39/5 is to 0. 39/5 is to 0. That means this is our answer. This is our final answer. For 3 marks, you're going to mark the final answer. You're going to mark that you found the gradient. You're going to mark that you found the x coordinate. Yeah, that's how you find the answer. Thank you very much, guys.